What if the secret to real success isn't working harder, chasing more hacks, or fixing your image, but changing from the inside out? That's exactly what Stephen Covey reveals in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the timeless classic that has already transformed millions of lives. In this audiobook summary, you'll discover the 7 simple, principle-based habits that create extraordinary results in your career, relationships, health, and peace of mind. No fluff, no quick fixes, just proven, character-driven strategies that help you achieve personal victory first, then public victory that actually lasts. If you're tired of feeling busy but not fulfilled, stuck in the same patterns, or watching time slip away without real progress, this is the roadmap you've been waiting for. Stick around and let's unlock the habits that turn ordinary people into highly effective ones. Starting today. Chapter 1: Inside Out. What if the reason you're working harder than ever but still feel stuck, unfulfilled, and disconnected from the people who matter most is because you've been trying to change your life from the outside in? Real, lasting change only happens from the inside out. There are people who achieved massive outward success, big careers, big money, big status, yet felt empty inside. Their marriages were flat, their kids were distant, their health was slipping, and they kept repeating the same frustrating patterns. Sound familiar? Covey tells his own painful story, how he and his wife tried everything to help their struggling son. Positive motivation, pep talks, discipline, but nothing worked. Why? Because they were still seeing their son as broken and behind. Their perception was the problem. The moment they changed how they saw him, shifting their own character and mindset first, everything transformed. Their son blossomed. The change wasn't in the techniques, it was in them. He reveals the hidden trap most self-help books fall into: the personality ethic, quick fixes, image management, communication tricks, versus the character ethic, integrity, humility, courage, and principles. For 150 years, success literature focused on character. Then it flipped to personality, and we've been paying the price ever since. You'll experience the famous old woman/young woman optical illusion that proves two people can look at the exact same thing and see something completely different. It's not logic, it's psychology. Your paradigms, the mental maps you carry, control everything: how you see problems, how you treat people, and what results you get. The big takeaway you can use today, if you want quantum change in your career, relationships, health, or peace of mind: stop hacking at the leaves of behavior and attitude. Go straight to the root: your paradigms and character. Chapter 2: The Maturity Continuum. Imagine your life as a journey along a single path that every human being travels, from total dependence on others to real independence, and finally to the highest level of all, interdependence, where you and the people around you create results far greater than you ever could alone. This is the maturity continuum. It's the natural progression of growth, and the 7 habits are designed to take you through it step by step. Most people get stuck in dependence. They wait for someone else to fix their problems, meet their needs, or make them happy. You take care of me, you come through for me. It feels safe, but it leaves you powerless. Then comes independence, the I stage. You learn to stand on your own 2 feet. You take responsibility. You make things happen instead of waiting for them to happen. This private victory feels liberating, and it's essential, but it's not the end. The real power lives in interdependence, the we stage. This is where you combine your strengths with other people's strengths to achieve things that are simply impossible alone. It's the difference between a solo performer and a world-class team. It's the difference between a decent marriage and a deeply connected one. It's the difference between managing your time and creating a life that actually matters. The first 3 habits build your private victory and move you from dependence to independence. The next 3 habits build your public victory and move you from independence to interdependence. The 7th habit keeps the entire process alive by renewing your energy, your mind, your body, your heart, and your spirit. These habits aren't random tips. They're an integrated, inside-out system built on timeless principles. Follow them in order and you don't just improve, you evolve. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop managing symptoms and start solving root problems. You stop surviving and start thriving. This is how ordinary people become highly effective in every area that matters most. The continuum shows you exactly where you are right now and where the habits will take you next. You now have the map. The journey starts with habit 1. Let's step into it. Chapter 3. Be proactive. Picture this. Every single day, life throws things at you. Traffic, tough conversations, bad news, difficult people. Most of us react instantly. We blame, we complain, we let it ruin our mood and our day. That's reactive living, and it keeps you stuck. Be proactive flips the entire game. Between every stimulus that hits you and every response you give, there is a small space. In that space lives your power, the power to choose. Proactive people use that space. They decide their attitude, their words, and their next action instead of letting circumstances decide for them. This isn't about positive thinking or ignoring reality. It's about taking responsibility for the one thing you can always control: yourself, your thoughts, your responses, your choices. The classic proof comes from Viktor Frankl, who survived the worst conditions in Nazi concentration camps. Everything was taken from him: his family, his freedom, his possessions, yet he realized no one could take away his final freedom, the freedom to choose his attitude and his response. That single insight kept him alive and later helped millions understand true human power. Proactive people focus their time and energy on their circle of influence, what they can actually do something about. Reactive people pour their energy into their circle of concern, things outside their control like the weather, the economy, or other people's behavior. The more you focus on what you can influence, the bigger that circle grows. The more you focus on what you can't control, the smaller and more powerless you feel. Listen to the language you use. Reactive language sounds like "I have to," "I can't," "they make me," or "if only." Proactive language sounds like "I choose," "I will," "I prefer," or "I am responsible." Start right now. For the next 30 days, catch yourself every time you slip into reactive language and switch it to proactive language. Watch what happens to your energy, your confidence, and your results. This one habit is the foundation of everything that follows. Without it, the other habits simply don't work. With it, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the creator of your life. You now hold the key to personal freedom. The private victory begins here. Chapter 4. Begin with the end in mind. Imagine attending your own funeral. You're watching from the back as people stand up to speak about the life you lived. What do they say? What do your family, friends, and colleagues remember about you? The kind of parent you were? The impact you made at work? The person you became? This single mental exercise is the starting point of one of the most powerful shifts you can ever make. Most people live by accident. They react to whatever comes up, chase whatever feels urgent, and drift toward whatever is easiest. They spend years climbing the ladder of success, only to realize at the top that the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. Beginning with the end in mind changes everything. It means you decide first what kind of life you truly want, not what society, your boss, or your fears tell you to want, and then you build every single day toward that vision. You become the architect of your own life, instead of just a construction worker following someone else's blueprint. This habit is about leadership, not management. It's about creating a crystal clear picture in your mind of the destination before you take the first step. It's about writing a personal mission statement that captures your deepest values, the roles that matter most to you, and the legacy you want to leave. When you live this way, every decision gets easier. You stop saying yes to things that don't matter. You stop wasting time on distractions. You start measuring success by something deeper than money, status, or applause. You stop living someone else's script and start writing your own. This is personal leadership at its highest level. It turns vague dreams into a concrete direction. It replaces reaction with intention. It gives your life purpose instead of just activity. Do this one thing, pause long enough to define the end you want, and every other habit becomes 10 times more powerful. You now have the vision. The next step is learning how to make that vision real in the middle of real life. Chapter 5. Put first things first. Most people spend their days putting out fires. They chase whatever feels urgent right now. Emails, calls, deadlines, interruptions, and wonder why the things that actually matter keep getting pushed aside. This habit changes that forever. It's not about managing your time. It's about managing your life around what matters most. You already know where you want to go. Now you learn how to get there. Imagine your week as a jar. If you fill it first with big rocks, the truly important things like deep relationships, personal growth, planning, exercise, and the roles that define who you want to become, then the smaller pebbles and sand of daily tasks can still fit around them. But if you fill the jar with sand first, the big rocks will never go in. That's the difference between living by urgency and living by importance. There are 4 ways people spend their time. Crises that are both urgent and important. Prevention, planning, and relationship building that are important but not urgent. Interruptions and distractions that feel urgent but aren't truly important. Time wasters that are neither urgent nor important. Reactive people live in the first and third boxes. Proactive people live in the second. They schedule their most important priorities first, before the urgent noise of the day takes over. They say a clear, calm no to things that don't align with their vision so they can say a powerful yes to what does. The practical tool is simple. 1 weekly planning session. Once a week you sit down, review your roles and values, identify the 2 or 3 big rocks for each role, and block time for them before anything else touches your calendar. Then you live the week with those rocks already in place. When you do this consistently, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. You move from feeling busy to feeling purposeful. You build the relationships, health, and results that matter instead of watching them slip away. You now have the vision from habit 2 and the freedom of choice from habit 1. This habit gives you the discipline and structure to turn both into daily reality. The private victory is complete. You're ready for the public victory, where real influence with other people begins. Chapter 6. Think win/win. Most people approach life as a competition. Someone has to lose for you to win. They negotiate, manipulate, or give in just to keep the peace. That's the win-lose or lose-win trap, and it quietly destroys relationships, teams, and opportunities. Win/win is the complete opposite. It's the belief that it's possible for everyone involved to come out ahead, not by compromising and both losing a little, not by one person dominating, but by creating solutions where both sides feel genuinely good about the outcome. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the highest form of human interaction, and it only becomes possible when 2 things are strong inside you: character and abundance mentality. Character means you have the integrity to stand for what matters and the maturity to truly care about the other person's success. Abundance mentality is the deep belief that there is enough success, recognition, and resources for everyone. The opposite, scarcity mentality, says if you win, I lose. And that single belief poisons marriages, partnerships, and workplaces. Win/win isn't about being nice. It's about being courageous enough to keep looking for a third alternative until both people feel like winners. Sometimes that means walking away with no deal rather than forcing a bad agreement. And that's still a win because trust stays intact. When you live this way, everything changes. Negotiations become collaborations. Difficult conversations become creative problem-solving sessions. People stop protecting themselves and start contributing their best ideas. Relationships deepen instead of draining. This is the first habit of public victory. Once you've built the private victory inside yourself, win-win lets you create extraordinary results with other people without ever sacrificing your own values or theirs. You now know how to win with yourself. Next, you'll discover how to win with others through real understanding. Chapter 7. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. You're in the middle of an important conversation. The other person is talking, but inside your head you're already preparing your reply, your defense, your solution. You hear the words, but you're not really listening. That single habit quietly kills trust, connection, and influence every single day. This chapter reveals the most underused skill in human relationships, listening with the intent to understand, not to reply. Most of us listen autobiographically. We filter everything through our own experience. Oh, I know exactly how you feel. Here's what I did. We give advice, ask questions, or jump in to fix things before the other person even feels truly heard. The result? They shut down. Real communication stops. Seek first to understand flips the script. It means you listen empathically with your ears, your eyes, and especially your heart. You step inside their frame of reference. You reflect back what they're saying and feeling until they say, yes, that's exactly it. Only then do you open your mouth to be understood. This isn't a technique, it's a mindset. It's the deepest form of respect you can give another human being, and it's the fastest way to build emotional trust, the kind that makes every future conversation easier and more honest. When people feel genuinely understood, their defenses drop. They become open. They start listening to you. Influence flows naturally. Problems that once seemed impossible suddenly have creative solutions. This habit is the key that unlocks every relationship: marriage, parenting, leadership, teamwork, even difficult conversations at work. Master it, and you stop talking past each other and start solving things together. You now have the first two public victory habits: win/win and empathic listening. The next one combines them into pure creative power. Chapter 8. Synergize. The highest form of human collaboration isn't compromise. It isn't even cooperation. It's synergy, when two or more people come together and create something far greater than anything they could achieve alone. 1 + 1 = 3, or 10, or even 100. Synergy happens when genuine win-win thinking meets deep empathic listening. Instead of defending your position or pushing your idea, you stay open. You value differences. You treat them as fuel for creativity rather than obstacles. And suddenly new solutions, fresh ideas, and unexpected breakthroughs appear that neither person could have imagined by themselves. This isn't groupthink or forced agreement. It's the opposite. It's the willingness to let go of my way or your way and search together for a third alternative that is truly better than either original plan. You see synergy in the best marriages, the most innovative teams, the strongest families, and the most successful businesses. One person's strength perfectly complements the other's weakness. One perspective fills in the blind spots of the other. The whole becomes dramatically more than the sum of its parts. Most people never reach this level because they're still operating from scarcity and ego. They protect their own ideas, compare, compete, or settle for, okay, we'll split the difference. Synergy demands courage, humility, and trust. But the results are exponential. When you live this habit, problems that once felt unsolvable suddenly have elegant solutions. Relationships that felt average become extraordinary. Teams that were merely productive become unstoppable. You've already built the private victory inside yourself. You've learned to win with others through win-win and deep understanding. Now you combine them into pure creative power. This is where the real magic of highly effective living begins. The final habit will show you how to keep this entire process alive and growing for the rest of your life. Chapter 9. Sharpen the saw. You can work incredibly hard, live the first 6 habits every single day, and still burn out, lose your edge, or slowly drift backward unless you master this final habit. Sharpen the saw is the habit of self-renewal. It's the one that keeps all the others alive and growing. Think of your life as a saw. Every day you're out there cutting wood, handling responsibilities, solving problems, building relationships, chasing goals. If you never stop to sharpen the blade, it gets dull. You work harder and harder, yet you accomplish less and less. Eventually, the saw becomes useless. Renewal means stepping back regularly to sharpen every part of yourself in 4 balanced dimensions: your body, exercise, eat well, rest, and care for your physical health so you have the energy to show up fully. Your mind, read, learn, write, plan, and stretch your thinking so you stay sharp and creative. Your heart and relationships, invest in deep connections, laugh, serve others, and nurture your emotional life so you feel loved and loving. Your spirit, reflect, meditate, pray, spend time in nature, or reconnect with your deepest values and purpose so you stay inspired and grounded. This isn't selfish, it's the opposite. When you renew yourself regularly, you bring a sharper, calmer, more creative version of yourself to every role you play: parent, partner, leader, friend, professional. You don't just survive the week, you thrive in it. The beauty is that renewal happens in the important but not urgent zone. It never screams for your attention, yet it determines whether you live the other 6 habits for a lifetime or slowly let them fade. Do this one habit consistently, and you create a virtuous upward spiral. Every other habit becomes easier, stronger, and more natural. You stay fresh, focused, and fulfilled instead of exhausted and empty. You now have the complete inside-out system. The 7 habits aren't 7 separate tricks. They are one integrated way of living that builds character, creates extraordinary results, and delivers a life of real meaning and contribution. The journey doesn't end here. It begins again every single day, with a sharper saw and a clearer heart. You've got everything you need. Now go live it. Chapter 10. Inside Out Again. You've now walked through all 7 habits. You know how to be proactive, how to begin with the end in mind, how to put first things first, how to think win-win, how to listen with empathy, how to create synergy, and how to sharpen the saw. But here is the most important truth of the entire journey. These habits are not a one-time checklist you complete and then move on from. They are a living, breathing process that keeps lifting you higher for the rest of your life. This final step brings everything full circle, back to the inside-out principle that started it all. Real change never happens from the outside in. It always begins within you, and every time you apply these habits, you create an upward spiral of growth. You learn a little more, you commit a little deeper, you act a little better, and the next time around you operate from a higher level of awareness, maturity, and effectiveness. The spiral never ends. The more you live the habits, the more clearly you see new opportunities, the more naturally you respond instead of react, and the more joy and contribution you experience. Think of it like climbing a mountain. With each habit you master, you reach a new vantage point. From that higher ground, you suddenly see problems you couldn't see before, relationships you can deepen, and possibilities you never noticed. What felt difficult at the bottom becomes almost effortless at the top. Then you climb again. That is the power of continuous renewal. The 7 habits work as one complete system. Habit 1 gives you the freedom to choose. Habit 2 gives you the vision of who you want to become. Habit 3 turns that vision into daily reality. Habits 4, 5, and 6 show you how to create true win/win relationships, deep understanding, and creative synergy with other people. Habit 7 keeps the entire system fresh, strong, and growing. Miss any one of them, and the rest lose their power. Live them all together, and they multiply each other. In daily life, this looks like simple, consistent choices. You pause before reacting and choose your response. You block time for the people and roles that matter most. You listen with your whole heart instead of preparing your reply. You look for third alternatives instead of arguing over positions. You exercise, read, connect with loved ones, and renew your spirit even when the day feels full. These aren't dramatic hero moments. They are quiet, daily disciplines that compound into a completely different quality of life. The real reward isn't just personal success or better relationships. It's something deeper, a life of integrity, peace, and lasting contribution. You stop living someone else's script and start creating a legacy that truly matters. You become the kind of person others trust, respect, and want to follow, not because of your title or achievements, but because of who you are. The journey never ends, but it does begin right now. You already have the map. You already have the principles. The only question left is how fully you will live them today, tomorrow, and every day after. The inside-out revolution is yours. Keep spiraling upward. The best version of your life is still ahead, and it is being built, one proactive, principle-centered choice at a time. Chapter 11, A Day in the Office with Quadrant 2. You now know the 7 habits. You understand the inside-out process. But the question everyone asks is, how does this actually look in real life, on a normal, busy, chaotic workday? This chapter gives you the answer. It takes you inside a typical executive's day and shows exactly how someone who lives the habits, especially habit 3, put first things first, uses Quadrant 2, planning to stay proactive, focused, and effective instead of drowning in urgency. Imagine walking into the office on Monday morning. Most people open their email, react to whatever is screaming loudest, jump from meeting to meeting, and end the day exhausted with their most important work still untouched. A Quadrant 2 person does the opposite. They start the week with a private 30-minute planning session on Sunday evening or Monday morning. They review their personal mission statement and the 4 or 5 key roles that matter most: leader, team member, spouse, parent, self. For each role, they ask one simple question. What is the 1 or 2 most important things I can do this week that will make the biggest positive difference? Those become their big rocks. They block time for them first, before anything else goes on the calendar. The rest of the week is then built around protecting those rocks. Now watch what the day actually looks like. 7 a.m. They exercise or meditate. The body and spirit are renewed before the demands begin. 8:30 a.m. Instead of checking email first, they spend 20 minutes reviewing the week's big rocks and confirming their daily plan. 9 a.m. A key one-on-one with a direct report. Instead of jumping straight to tasks, they listen empathically first. The employee feels understood, trust deepens, and together they create a win-win solution that neither had thought of alone. 10:30 a.m. A crisis hits. Instead of panicking and dropping everything, they pause, stay proactive, and ask, is this truly important or just urgent? They delegate what they can, reschedule what they must, and protect the big rocks already in their calendar. Lunch, they eat with a colleague and use the time to build a relationship, not just talk shop. Synergy happens naturally. Afternoon, they carve out a 90-minute uninterrupted block for deep creative work on a high-leverage project. No phone, no email, just focused execution. Late afternoon, they do a quick review. Did I live my values today? What did I learn? What will I do differently tomorrow? This tiny reflection keeps the upward spiral turning. Evening. They leave the office on time because their most important roles, family, self, already have protected time blocked. They are present at home instead of mentally still at work. The result? They accomplish more of what truly matters in less time. Their team feels empowered, not micromanaged. Their relationships grow stronger, stress goes down, energy and creativity go up, and they end the week with a deep sense of fulfillment instead of the usual exhaustion. This is not theory, it is a repeatable daily system. Quadrant 2, time, the important but not urgent zone, is where prevention, planning, relationship building, and personal renewal live. When you schedule it first, the urgent crises shrink dramatically because you have already prevented most of them. The chapter proves that living the habits is not about doing more. It is about doing the right things first, with intention and integrity. Once you see one real day lived this way, you realize you can live every day this way. You now have the complete picture, the principles, the habits, the system, and a practical example of how it all works in the real world. The only thing left is to begin. The inside-out journey is yours. Start with one small rock this week, protect it, watch what happens, then keep spiraling upward, one proactive, principle-centered day at a time. Chapter 12. The Power of Your Center. Everything you do, every decision you make, every emotion you feel flows from one invisible source, the center around which your life revolves. Most people never consciously choose their center. It simply becomes whatever they care about most, and that single choice quietly shapes their entire map of reality. Some people center their lives on their spouse. Their happiness, security, and sense of worth rise and fall with their partner's mood. When things are good, life feels perfect. When conflict arises, everything collapses. The relationship becomes an emotional roller coaster instead of a steady source of strength. Others center on family. Every choice is filtered through, what will this mean for the kids? Or, how will this affect my parents? They pour their identity into being the perfect parent or child, only to discover that when family expectations clash with personal values, they feel torn apart. Many center on money or work. Success is measured in dollars, promotions, or status. They chase the next raise, the next deal, the next achievement. When the market crashes or the boss criticizes them, their whole world shakes. They may look successful on the outside, but inside they feel empty because their security is tied to something outside their control. Some center on pleasure, entertainment, travel, comfort, or excitement. Life becomes a constant search for the next high. Others center on friends, enemies, church, or even themselves. Each center creates its own set of strengths and serious weaknesses. Every one of them leaves you vulnerable because something external can always change or be taken away. There is only one center that never fails: principles. When your life is principle-centered, guided by timeless truths like fairness, integrity, honesty, respect, responsibility, and contribution, your security comes from within. Your wisdom is constant. Your power is steady. You still feel emotion. You still love deeply. You still care about results. But none of these things own you. You remain free to respond with wisdom instead of reacting with fear. Principle-centered living does something remarkable. It creates balance. You can be deeply committed to your spouse and family without making them your emotional lifeline. You can work hard and pursue financial success without selling your soul. You can enjoy pleasure and relationships without becoming enslaved to them. Principles act like a compass. They keep you pointing true north, no matter how stormy the sea becomes. This is why the 7 habits work so powerfully. They are not built on trends, techniques, or personality. They are built directly on universal principles. When you live them, you automatically become principle-centered. Your paradigms shift, your perceptions become clearer, your relationships deepen, your results multiply, and the upward spiral continues, each new level of growth making the next level easier and more natural. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to make this shift. Start today by asking yourself one honest question. What am I really centering my life on right now? Then quietly decide to move toward principles. Protect time for renewal. Choose proactive responses. Keep your vision clear. Listen before speaking. Look for win-win solutions. Create synergy, and repeat the process week after week. The difference is dramatic. People who live from a principle center don't just manage life better. They experience a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and contribution that nothing external can ever take away. You now hold the complete inside-out system. The habits are no longer just ideas. They are a way of being. The only thing left is to live them. One choice, one day, one relationship at a time. The spiral is waiting. Step into it fully. Your highest and best life is not somewhere in the future. It is being created right now from the inside out. Chapter 13, The Upward Spiral. You now hold the complete system. The 7 habits are no longer separate ideas. They have become one integrated way of living that builds on itself forever. This is the upward spiral. Every time you choose to be proactive instead of reactive, you move higher. Every time you pause to begin with the end in mind, you gain clarity. Every time you put first things first, you create order out of chaos. Every time you think win/win, listen with empathy, and synergize, your relationships grow stronger and more creative. Every time you sharpen the saw, you renew your capacity to live all the other habits at an even higher level This is not a straight line of progress. It is a spiral. Each completed cycle lifts you to a new level of awareness, capability, and contribution. What once felt difficult becomes natural. What once required conscious effort becomes part of who you are. You don't just improve, you evolve. The most powerful part is that this spiral doesn't stop with you. When you live these habits consistently, you become what is called a transition person. You are the one who breaks negative cycles that may have run in your family, your team, or your organization for generations. You stop passing on reactivity, scarcity, and defensiveness. Instead, you pass on proactivity, abundance, empathy, and synergy. Your children watch how you respond to pressure and learn to respond the same way. Your colleagues see how you listen and begin to listen better themselves. Your friends feel the safety of win/win and start creating it in their own lives. One person living these habits can quietly transform an entire family tree, a workplace culture, or a community. This is the ultimate value you gain, not just a better life for yourself, but a better future for everyone who comes after you. The spiral is already turning. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You only need to make the next right choice today. Protect one big rock this week. Listen with your whole heart in one conversation. Look for one win-win solution. Instead of arguing, sharpen the saw even when you feel too busy. Small, consistent actions repeated over time create the upward spiral that carries you higher than you ever thought possible. You have the principles. You have the habits. You have the map. The only thing left is to live them. One choice, one conversation, one day at a time. The inside-out revolution is yours. Keep spiraling upward. The best is still ahead, and it is being built right now from the inside out.